Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer and today I'm Gamesplaining Kanban. In the game of Kanban there's quite a lot going on, or so the board appears, but in essence you're actually only playing with 5 different elements or areas of the board. So what I'll do in this video is I'll run through the basics of the game and then I'll do a second video of running through the specifics of each of the 5 different areas. So the game is run on points. The game will finish when you get this token and this token to one of them to the 3 and the other one to the 2, or obviously that could also be the other way around. What pushes those tokens forward? This token is a marker of meetings. I'll talk to you about meetings in a moment. Whenever the white car gets to one of the checkered flag areas, this will move forward 1. When that moves forward 1, the big white brick goes over to show that we're about to have a meeting. You'll finish your turn, so each player will finish their turn for that particular round, and then a meeting will happen. In the meeting, you are discussing these 4 events, plus 1 event selected from your hand. Each of them have different little icons on them, and the meanings of them are written on the back of the book. I won't go through all of them for what they mean. However, the top left corner shows you how many points there are for each of the things that you can do. So in this case, it's how many of these little books you actually have. So 2 points for each book. And the top right corner tells you how many times you can get that. So theoretically, if you have 3 books, you'll get 6 points. If you have 4 books, you'll still only get 6 points because you can do it 3 times. The number of seats down here tells you how many people can talk about that. Now, the first person who talks about it can take the 3 times. The second person who talks about it can only take 2 times because the boss gets bored. So the third person can only take 1 time. Now, as discussed, you have 3 cards in your hand. You will need to play one of these cards in front of you as an item to discuss on the meeting. One of these 2 cards will become an item to discuss on next meeting. So, for example, might be that one. This will happen at the end of the meeting, by the way. That would replace one of the cards up in that top right hand corner, and the other one stays in your hand. The other things you're discussing are these 4. Once these 4 are discussed and everyone has passed, and you may pass at any time as long as you have played this card down. Once that discussion has happened and everyone has passed, including playing that down, then the meeting is over, at which point all of these cards come off the board, that card comes away. These cards that have been placed face down or selected face down will then be flipped over into the spaces. So depending how many players you have, you may only have 2 of them filled up, or 3 or 4, and then you refill the spots with cards from the deck. Once that's happened, everyone will draw back up to 3 cards. So you'll have 1 card, take another 2, and that's your cards for next time. Once the meeting's finished, this block comes across. Theoretically, that's when you're supposed to move it across according to the rules, but it doesn't really matter when you move it as long as you move it at the same time each time. So once this gets up to 3 or 2, we need to be looking out for the end of the game. So now we come to the weeks. The weeks are guided by where Sandra is. Whenever Sandra gets back to this position, that's the end of a week, and we'll go to a week's scoring. The week scoring is looking at anyone who has upgraded parts of cars that they own. If someone has upgraded a black part and owns the black car, they will get 2 points. If someone else has upgraded the black car and this person owns it, this person will get 1 point. And that will happen for each car that each of the players own. Once that's happened, then we move along to the next week. And there are 3 weeks possible that we could play, depending on what everyone's doing. So once one of them gets to 2 and the other one gets to 3, or the other way around, you work out the movement. It might be that there's both a meeting and a week's end at the same time, that's fine. But you work out that, and then we go to a final scoring. The final scoring is dependent on these. Then you get some extra points per shift that you've got in Shift Bank. We'll talk about that in a little while. Each book, parts voucher, or seat that you have on your own player board, which we'll also talk about in a little while. If you have cars with parts, you'll get the points according to where the part actually has been upgraded to, and once again we'll talk about that in a little while. And then you're also going to score points for where you are along this track. So there's a heck of a lot of points going on in this game, and I'm sure that will become apparent as the game goes on. So let's get into the game now. The first thing that happens, and I've already done this, is you will select one of these in any order. So you'll select a player as the first player and they'll select a thing. They'll take the bonus that they're covering up, and that gives them an order. The next thing we do in from right to left order, So the blue player will select first. They select a starting position, which they have also done. The starting position tells you which department you're able to work in and how long you can work for. So if the blue player took that spot, orange player may choose to go here as well, but they will get one less on their turn. At the end of that turn, when you're selecting the next player order, you'll always go from this end to that end, left to right. So orange will actually select their placement first. You have to change department, so you can't stay in the same department. If that's what it looks like, this player would not be allowed to go to here. Other than that, you can move anywhere you like. When we get through to Sandra, which is the pink one, she will always go to the next department. In fact, to the next available spot in the next department. So because she's going last, these guys might select to go here and here. She will come down and take that one. On the next time round, so we've done all the actions, Sandra will move first. She'll move to that one, which now means that blue can't stay here and can't go into this spot. So he has to go to the one of the last three. And then orange can move to one of these two or any of those spots. The only spot that Sandra won't take up a clock is in the last area. She has her own desk there, so she'll just go and stand there. Those spots are always available for you. The spot that you have taken tells you how much time you have in each space. So how many shifts. Each shift is 3 hours. So from 1 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 9, or 9 to 12. Each of the places you can only use 2 or 3 shifts, or if you go to the office space, the end space, I can't remember the name of it, you'll use 1 or 2 shifts. Assuming you have banked some shifts, which is kept track of here, you can use any of those shifts to take you up to the maximum of 4 shifts. So if I've gone to a spot that uses 3 shifts, I could use that to take the 4th shift. I can't take 2 shifts because that would put me over the 4 total. Other things to remember that we're working towards. Again, we're getting points for these things. There are a whole bunch of those cards, so I'll allow the book to tell you what they mean. It's on the back page. At any time during your turn, you can trade for these. These are called spare parts. So you can trade in parts that you have. So I have a blue part here. I could trade that for a white part. However, because I would be putting that there, I would have then 2 spare blue parts. That's not allowed. So at the moment, because both players have a blue part, they can't actually trade anything in because blue's already taken. You can do that as many times as you like during your turn. There's no limits on that one at all. You can also use one of these vouchers, which is any part that you like. So you return that there and take whatever color piece you want to use wherever you want to use it. Also, these are extra work. So once you've done your number of your shift, you can spend one of these books to do some work at home, and that'll push you up this path. Now there's one of those paths on the side of all 5 of the areas. One of the actions in all 5 of the areas is to push you forward on that path. Why would I want to push forward on that path? I am glad you asked. You'll notice there are 2 things. Firstly, there's an icon with a little scroll to show that you've graduated or you've achieved that level, so you're competent in that particular area. And then at the top of the path, there is a pile of bonuses. The first person to get to the top will get an extra chair. That chair is a chair at the meeting, but can also become spare points at the end of the game if you filled up all the chairs at the meeting. So that will always go off, and you'll flip one of these over. When you take that, once all of the chairs are flipped over, that's when you'll put it onto your actual board. If you get to the top of any of these lines, if you're the first, you get that chair, then you get to make a decision between these 2 tokens. And you take that, and that will give you a bonus. What's on the tokens? I am glad you asked. One of the tokens is this one, which pushes you forward on that track. That one, which gains you one of the books onto your home board. That one, which gains you one of those tiles onto your home board as well, a spare piece. And that one, which gains you 2 points on the points track. Once you've used them, discard them. They are of no more use to you. The other thing that happens on these tracks is when you go across that middle point. So 1, 2, once you get your 3rd one, you have passed proficiency in that area, and so you'll get a bonus. What that does is, the first thing, it will release one of these locks, or if you've gained proficiency here, it will release a lock that's over your 5th chair. That lock is generally holding down one of the spots. So For example, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 spots available for cars to come in, but once you get proficiency there, you'll be able to bring a 5th car in. Once you get proficiency in this area, you'll be able to garage a 5th car as well. Once you get proficiency in the parts, you'll be able to hold the 6th piece of parts that you take. And once you get proficiency in this area, that will unlock this one. Once you upgrade one of the parts, that would normally go there and push one of these across one. I'll talk a bit more about that in the next video, but unlocking this one allows you to put a part there which actually pushes it forward twice. You can only do that once, and each color can only be done once. So if you've got 4 players, and this player's done the pink one, no one else can do the pink. When you do choose this one, so you've upgraded that, and you put a car there, you'll get to choose 2 of those benefits, of the 4 benefits available. If you're playing on the other side, I believe there's only one thing, but I'm not too worried about that at the moment. Once you upgrade this one here, you'll get the 6th spot available. It also gives you access to that spot, which is basically taking a parts voucher instead of one of those pieces, so you can take any color with that. Once you upgrade this one, that's the design, which is over here. That allows you access to any of these 3 available cars or designs when you are selecting them. Unlocking this one allows you a 5th chair at the table. So the only other spot on the board that I haven't dealt with for this video is these 3 spots. Basically what they're saying is once you get to 2 of the diplomas, so you've pushed yourself across that line for 2 of them, you'll then get an extra chair. That will then get flipped over. If you're in a 3 or 4 player game, there'll be 2 red chairs on those ones. This one is talking about ideas, and that one is talking about the actual cars coming into your garage. So how many of those you've got is really what they're talking about. Okay, I will go on and do the second video, which actually explains what each of the 5 areas does, or what you can do in each of the 5 areas. So if you want to go onto that video, please do so. Otherwise, go on to the playthrough video, which will show you how to play the beginning of the game. If you have any comments or suggestions, please write them below. If you have any games that you'd like to be Gamesplaned, please shoot me an email at thegamesplainer@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at thegamesplainer to keep up to date with the games I'm playing. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games I'm gamesplaining. And until next time, enjoy gaming.